Here in the UK, this week, all the kids are going back to school, which for me means I need lots of rolls, lots of bread for my chief taster. So with these doughs, I'm going to turn them out and cut them up and use my master recipe, final proof recipe for making rolls. Really simple. So with these doughs, because we started them during the course yesterday, during the middle of the morning, and it was very warm in my kitchen yesterday afternoon, so it proved all afternoon and evening. I put the dough into the banneton last thing at night, and it's been in the fridge ever since. So it's been in the fridge now for about 14 hours. So I'm going to turn them out, chop them up onto some baking trays and into the oven. So because they've been proving, you often get some condensation on your shower cap or your bowl, whatever you're using. So it's nice and it's slightly damp on the top, which means you don't really need anything on the surface because it's not really going to stick. So all I want to do is chop this into 8, and you can see it's a very happy, lovely big dough. So as I'm cutting into it with my very, very, very trusty dough knife, my Campbell's dough knife, you can see bubbles coming from it. So all I want to do is just gather them up and place them onto the baking tray. Don't worry if they get a bit squashed, because if you've done all of the work in your dough and you've got a nice strong starter and some nice strong flour, they're going to bubble up and bake up to what you want. So you could have put something on the counter if you wanted to, so they didn't stick like this, but it doesn't bother me because they usually come away anyway. So that's the first set. What I want to do with this set, so let's turn it out again. Look at that beauty, just beauty. Look at that. So with this one, I'm going to chop her up again. Same. I chop mine into 8 because that works in my household. You can always chop them into smaller pieces if you want. You don't need to chop them into wedges. You can chop them into all different shapes. Look at that. Blowing bubbles. So with these, I'm just going to put some of the sticky edges into some sesame seeds, and where it's stretched out, I might just roll it around a bit. Just have a little play. You never know what you'll get. So when the dough's nice and sticky, it's a perfect time for putting it into some seeds. And I wouldn't put sesame seeds on a large loaf because it bakes for so long. The sesame seeds tend to get overcooked and get bitter. But because the rolls only need to be in the oven for about 20 minutes, this is when I like to add the sesame seeds, because here we go. My video got cut off just before I finished doing these, so that's the one that I splodged a bit. So they're all ready to go into the oven. So let's see how they bake up. With this dough, I'm going to laminate it. So I want water on my counter surface, and I'm going to, with my very lovely dough scraper sent to me by a very lovely lady, I'm just going to turn the dough out onto the counter. So this dough we also made yesterday in my class, but I've kept it in the bowl. Look at that. specifically for this purpose rather than put it in a banneton. So I put it into the fridge overnight in the bowl just to preserve it so it didn't overprove. And this is so much fun. I do a lot of this in my classes. So what I want to do is start to stretch it out. And of course, now that I'm doing this, my dishwasher is going to start beeping in the background, so I can only apologise. So as you stretch it, it's going to bounce back because that's what it does. What's really good is if you find an edge where you haven't got much water so that it sticks, and then you can work it from there. This is the perfect way to fill your dough with different things. It's also good fun to do with kids. So you can keep on stretching and pulling it, ideally not making any holes in the dough, if possible. Keep on pulling it out. And I love this because you can see the activity in the dough. You can actually see the life in it, and you can smell it. As you stretch it and work with it, you can smell the sourdough. So that looks pretty good to me. You can keep on going ad nauseum if you want to, but to give you an idea, I've stretched this out to, that's about 64 centimetres, 25 inches. And that is about 34 centimetres, 13.5 inches. So that gives you an idea of how much it can stretch out. All I'm going to do with this one is sprinkle some seeds in it. But this is when you can go crazy. You can add whatever you fancy. So in the class yesterday we made some with just cheese, some with cheese and ketchup, as was requested. We did some with my favourite, chopped banana and lots of dollops of almond butter. I've made them before with cheese and za'atar. You could go with cinnamon and raisin. You could do whatever you like. It's just a different way of doing things. So you've got two choices now. So the aim is to roll this up and then cut them up to make your rolls. If you roll it that way, they're going to be quite small, so you could get a lot more out of it. I'm going to roll it towards you because I want them to be a bit bigger so that they can do the job that I need them to do. So I've managed to catch the dishwasher before you have to listen to it. So just going to start rolling. So what you often see when you do this, there's a nice spiral of the crumb inside. So the water that's been on the surface just all adds to the hydration of the dough. A little bubble. And you can see how alive it is as you're working with the dough. It's just a pure and utter joy. So let's get it down to a certain point and then bring it up and tuck it over. So we've got a lovely sausage ready to go. Got my dough knife back, so I'm going to go in half, half again. So again I'm going to make 8 rolls. Like I say, you can make them smaller quite easily. We like chunky rolls, and then when you pick them up you can already start to see, hopefully, some of the spiral inside, and you can see the shape, so hopefully you can preserve some of that. Just tuck it round a bit if you need to. Look at that, look at all the seeds. Lovely laminated seeded rolls, all ready for the oven. A bit more of a close-up so that you can see them ready to go. So you can now bake these immediately, or you could sit them in the fridge for a little while if you wanted to give them any extra proving. Mine are going to go in just as soon as the others come out. Here we are, fresh from the oven. Beautiful, huge baked rolls. Absolutely huge. So these are the ones with the sesame, so you can see lovely seeded sides and bottom. See how well they stick, because the dough was lovely and sticky. That was my weirdly shaped one. And my oven definitely has a hot spot, because you can see which one was in that corner. And here's the plain ones. Beautiful, lovely bakes. Very happy with those. The other ones are now in the oven. So we shall see what they do. Here are the lovely seeded rolls. Look at those. See, they go in like a splodge and they come out risen and lovely. Look at that. I love, you can see the blisters. See the work that the starter has done, not just in raising the dough, but in creating that lovely blistery finish. That's a very happy morning's work. Here is the inside view. So this is one of the plain rolls. This is one of the sesame seed studded rolls. And this little beauty is one of the laminated seeded rolls. Look at that, and you can see the swirl from where it was rolled up. So lovely, happy baking, and rolls aplenty. My freezer is nicely stocked. This is the underside of the roll with the sesame seeds on. Just look how well they stick, even when it's been cut into. I really like this.